The nursery rhyme is all too familiar. Old Mother Hubbard went to her cupboard to get her poor dog a bone. But when she came there, the cupboard was bare, and so the poor dog had none. Old Mother Hubbard went to her cupboard to get her poor dog some righteousness, but when she came there, the cupboard was bare, and so the poor dog had none. The poor dog is hungry and probably thirsty for righteousness. We are hungry and thirsty for righteousness because our cupboards are bare, not because our craving for righteousness can be satisfied when we go to our full supply of ready cooked righteousness thawing in the refrigerator or cooking in the crock pot, the big crock pot. No, we're hungry and thirsty for righteousness because we don't have any. Not in the freezer, not in the crock pot. Nothing comes out when we turn on the faucet. Nothing but that fizzing sound. That's our heart when it comes right down to it. Our hearts are bare, so that when we go looking for righteousness within ourselves, something to show God for all his demands of us, he gets nothing but that fizzing sound. If you have no money, you are poor. If you have no comfort, you mourn. If you have no courage, you are meek. If you have no righteousness, you hunger and thirst for it. As Jesus will say later on, if your righteousness does not exceed that of the Pharisees, then you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. At first glance, this seems like a big opening. Just be more righteous than the Pharisees. And then you see how righteous the Pharisees really are, up to tithing the herbs of their gardens, to give not only 10% of their money, but to also give 10% of their tarragon and everything in between. They knew what to wash and when to wash it and what direction to be facing when they were washing whatever it was that needed to be washed. They knew what prayers to be saying when they were washing whatever it was that they were supposed to be washing. They woke up early in the morning, studied God's word without ceasing, went to church, memorized the Bible, sang nothing but religious songs, painted nothing but religious pictures, and went to bed late at night praying only the most religious prayers. It doesn't take long to realize that your righteousness isn't anywhere close to their righteousness. And if their righteousness doesn't get them into the kingdom of heaven, then how can anyone get into the kingdom of heaven? With man, this is impossible. Impossible because we are poor in spirit. We mourn. We are meek and hungry. With God, it is possible. And more than possible, it is a done deal because he gives us his righteousness. Now you have the kingdom of heaven. Now you are comforted. Now you are courageous, inheritors of the earth. Ole Severinsen was about to inherit the farm, which was a great victory for the family because it meant that the farmstead would survive into the second generation. Papa Severinsen had made the boat ride from Sweden sometime early in the 1800s after he heard of the American Revolution. He was one of those early pioneer farmers traversing the Appalachian Mountains to some property in the fertile valleys north of the Ohio River, where he built a home place, raised a barn, purchased a plowshare and a team of horses, and set about building his dream. By the sweat of his brow, he built up a farm. He had outbuildings and orchards, head of cattle and a flock of sheep. He had hired hands and crops for them to harvest. Now, not without hardship did he build it up. And to help him in hardship, he had a wife. And the two of them built more than a farm. They built a family. One fine son and two fair daughters, the envy of the county, whose hands were desired for marriage. Ole grew into a strapping farmer himself, like his father, with a mind for the farm business. So it was an easy decision for Papa Severinsen to leave the farm to Ole. One day Ole felt sick. The next day he had a fever. The third day after that, they began to fear for his life. They called for the doctor, who did all he could do. These are the mid-1800s, after all. They called for the pastor to say the prayers. With many prayers and with much medical attendance, Ole did survive. But the fever had attacked his spine, leaving him crippled in his legs. By great Swedish determination, Ole willed himself to walk, but to will himself to drive a team of horses behind a plowshare, well, it was too much, even for his mighty determination. And everyone despaired for Ole and the farm. There was nothing he could do. No matter how hard he tried, the farm would be ruined, or it would be given to another, or it would be sold when Papa Severinsen died. But Papa Severinsen was a wise old Swede, and he knew, as an old man, to listen for new things. For when he was young, the steel plowshare was new. Now the steel plowshare was old, but steam. Now steam was new. An inquiry was made. A representative from a company called Case made a visit to the Severinsen farm. The bank was subsequently engaged to oversee a contract, and not too long before Papa Severinsen went to his final resting place, a steam tractor was delivered to his farm, a gift to his son Ole. And in this gift, a gift to his entire family, a gift to the community, to those who would remain employed, to those who would buy food, and to the increase of prosperity to all those around. The old thing is spiritual poverty, being poor in spirit. The old thing is being hungry and thirsty for righteousness, but having bare cupboards. The new thing is a gift from God. The new thing is Jesus, his only Son, who gives us his righteousness as a gift, filling us up with righteousness so that we can keep the farm. If you understand that the farm is the kingdom of heaven. The righteousness Jesus gives us is a powerful steam engine that just won't quit. It just won't quit being merciful so that you show mercy and you receive mercy. It just won't quit being pure to make your hearts pure so that you shall see God. It just won't quit being peaceful to make you make peace with each other so that when they see you, they call you sons of God. Oh, you are the envy of the world, having this wonderful farm given to you to manage and enjoy, even though you are a spiritual cripple. You are the envy of the world, inheritors of the kingdom of heaven. They hate you and revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely, because Jesus was crucified to give you the kingdom. That's what they did to him, hating the gift itself. That's what they did to the prophets who talked about the gift. That's what they do to you for receiving the gift of righteousness. I mean, anybody can muster up strength to limp along until you die, accomplishing nothing in the kingdom of heaven. It takes a special person to admit that you're weak and hungry and that you need a gift from God to make you fit for the farm. It is righteousness he gives you, a righteousness forged on the cross, a wealth beyond description, a kingdom of heaven. Its acreage is still being counted, its production is immeasurable, and it's all yours. Old Mother Hubbard went to the joiner's to buy the dog a coffin. But when she came back, the poor dog was laughing. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven.